Yes, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Dose podcast. Today, we have yet another very special guest on the show. This guy right now is one of my favorite writers in battle rap. He's been about on the scene for a minute, smashing it across different platforms. Random, what's going on, man?
Hey, yo, thanks for having me. What's up, Daily Dose, everybody? That was a lovely intro. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you very much for taking the time to come on. But jumping straight into the questions, like with yourself, how was it that you got into battle rap originally?
So I got into battle rap when I was like 10, I think, in middle school. A lot of the kids there rapped, and they just kind of introduced me to the idea of like battling, like talking trash to each other. And I was always pretty like verbal, like word oriented and somewhat clever. So I got a lot of, I got a lot of like positive feedback from that, and people were real surprised that I could do it. So I loved that. And then so I was like freestyle battling since I was 10. Not to make it sound like I was good or a prodigy, but I was just like, it was something I was always kind of fascinated in. And then I think 8 Mile came out like a couple years after that, like 2 or 3 years after that, something like that. And then that was like, I was a preteen or whatever, so that was a huge thing. Um, and then I like looked for every like battle opportunity I could find. So I did freestyle battles like tournament style. Nothing huge, but until about 2012, I think I was doing
Right.
that. And that's right. That's when I discovered that the modern era was going on.
Okay. Nice. And like with yourself, it's going back through some of your older battles. The first battle that I could find that was released was on Universal Battle Realm. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep. Shouts
What
out
led you
UBR.
to battling there then? Because that's based in, is it Albuquerque they're based in?
Yeah, Albuquerque. You know about that Breaking Bad and Bugs Bunny? That's their famous stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so in 2012 I discovered the written battle thing, and then I was, immediately the battle part of my brain is like, oh fuck all these guys. I could like beat everybody. Um, so then I just watched it for a long time, and it became, to me, I saw it as like, okay, you need to get like a good like tryout kind of battle shot anywhere, just like some good footage that shows what you can do, and then you shop that to like GZ or something, and then you kind of like move up the ladder this way. So I had just moved out to El Paso, Texas, which is about 4 hours south of Albuquerque, right on the border of Mexico. And I looked around to see what kind of battle stuff was going on. And I found this league there that they had some pretty good views. They had sponsored World Domination 4. They had like Rum Nitty versus Young B happened on that league a long time ago. They had good production value. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna fuck with these guys. I hit them up, and they set me up with the short circuit battle, which I think is my first one on online there. And then yeah, from there I mean, that's real rough. If you watch that one, I have a couple little moments, but everything's really rushed. And I freestyled the second round because I was all arrogant, like I'm not gonna fucking write for this guy. Um, and after that, the league saw potential in me, so they kind of gave me some opportunities to grow from there.
Right, that makes sense. Because you're now based on the East Coast again, is that right? I just thought it was a bit strange that you kind of tried out on Albuquerque, like the other side of the country, but that
Oh
makes a
yeah.
bit more sense now. But
Oh yeah, I actually don't. I'm like a super nomad. This is kind of a thing that's been people have said this about me in my battles. I don't know how like well known it is to the degree that I actually move around, but I've been on the East Coast since January, but I like move around all the time. So I was never based in Albuquerque, but that's kind of my home league. So I haven't really lived in that part of the country for probably like 4 years or something, 3 years maybe.
okay, right, I see. And I've spoken to a few people now that have battled on UBR. So like I've spoke with Benji Reckless and a few
Oh yeah.
others, and They all say the atmosphere at their events is fantastic.
Yeah, man. Benji's cool. I've hung out with him a few times. They're definitely UBR is fun. I don't know. Some battle leagues are like more uptight, or everybody's kind of like posturing themselves. But I think UBR has been doing it for a long time. They've got a good diverse fan base, and they brand themselves as the most disrespectful battle league. So like they love the shit talk. They love it. It's a lot of fun to battle there. And I've said it to a lot of people that when you battle on UBR, you have two opponents, which is whoever they booked you against and the audience, because you have to kind of like command it in there. So yeah, they're
Nice.
great.
Yeah, it looks fun, man. And like with yourself, and I was looking at your verse tracker, just kind of prepping for this interview, and you've got roughly 15 battles online now.
Okay.
What would you say is your favorite battle that you've personally been a part of so far?
I think that the two that were the most like exhilarating were probably my second battle, which is versus True Tones. That one's still kind of, it's still kind of rough, but I feel like that was like a really cool energy in the room for that one. I was coming in as like the outsider against a well-established guy in the league, and I really like proved myself in the room where nobody knew me. So that felt awesome. And then on kind of another end of the spectrum was my battle versus Rupert Common, because that one was just very like it was low pressure as far as the lead up to it, and it was just like a really fun. All the circumstances leading into the battle were really fun, and afterwards felt really good. I felt really good about my material in that one. So I feel like those are kind of my two favorites. The one with Rupert was super cool because I was kind of like traveling around in the Pacific Northwest in these islands that are between the U.S. and Canada, and then I like took a ferry out of the islands into mainland Canada, and like Pigsty and his friend like picked me up in a van, and I just hung out in Vancouver with like La Sparka and all the battle rap people that I've like seen on YouTube. So that ended up being super fun.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. And yeah, I've had both Pigsty and Le Sparker on the show, and just the atmosphere in Vancouver seems incredible. It's somewhere that I need to go myself at some point, but that must have been an amazing experience. Like, did you stay with Le Sparker while you were there? Then I know a lot of battlers do.
Yeah, yeah, that was awesome. I mean, shouts out to Pigsty and La Sparka. I actually listened to the Pigsty podcast to see what it was like, but Pigsty. So the Sparka had like nothing to do with this battle, but I basically showed up and I stayed with Pigsty for a day, and then he's like, "Okay, man, I'm gonna take you over to La Sparka's," and he just like dropped me off over at Sparka's because he's got like some space. He's cool. He's got people coming and going sometimes, so it was like really easy going. But it was just hilarious having this guy who had like very little to do with the situation, just like welcoming me in.
Yeah,
Actually, all the Vancouver people were super super cool to me. I think culturally, people view Canadians as being very nice, and at least these guys definitely lived up to it.
nice. Yeah, man, I can see that, and it must have been an amazing experience. Vancouver, from what I've heard, like just as a whole for the city, it's incredible.
Yeah, I thought so. It was my first time. Well, I'd been there once for like a night, but going that time, it was great. It was really cool. It's a beautiful place. I mean, the whole Pacific Northwest is gorgeous, so that's why everybody's so laid back and airy out there.
Yeah, nice, man. And so the other battle that you mentioned there, then, so the True Tones battle was.
Yeah.
I've actually only just seen that recently. So the first battle of yours that I saw and how I became aware of you was the Baby J battle on the bunker event.
Yeah, that was great.
Um, so I missed a few battles along the way beforehand, but I recently went back and watched the battles that I hadn't seen, which was the True Tones battle, the Short Circuit battle, and there was another one on UBR.
Was it 9?
That Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Um, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
the True Tone. I've actually never seen True Tones before, and I liked him. I thought he was pretty good. I've seen a few more of his battles now too, and he's one of the big names over at UBR. Is that right?
Yeah, he's definitely one of the upper tier guys. He's kind of like I always thought of him as like maybe a little bit like Mexican Big T or something like that.
Okay, yeah,
Just
I
because
can see it.
he did this great line like he had like a sound effect bar versus me like some um Amityville get your cavity filled, something like that. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
like that, but yeah, like you've as of recently, you've been working with Ruin Your Day a lot for kind of these aesthetically pleasing battles, I guess. But I bet that's just been super fun, just going to random and different locations and filming battles. Like it's an interesting experiment.
Yeah, I love that I've gotten to be kind of like the one of the poster children of that. Like, 'cause I don't know, I don't have very large accolades. I think I got like a 20K view battles, like my biggest. But I mean, basically, once I started doing anything with avocado, like once I did the bunker, I was just like, okay, if I never do anything else in battle rap, I did this. And like once I did the pigsty battle and the Mad Flex battle, it was like all the same way. So I feel like every time I've gotten to work with that team, I mean, that's exactly where I want to be. You know, there's other stuff I'd like to accomplish, but like if I just never do anything else and kind of like retire with those few gems, I'll feel good about it. Um,
Definitely. Yeah, it's been fun to see, man. And I mean, the most recent battle that I've seen of yours as well is the XQZ battle on iBattle.
yeah.
So for me personally, I think iBattle is the league that I probably follow the most right now, just because I kind of lean more towards the leagues that seem to have a great atmosphere. Like I'm a big fan of iBattle, No Coast, King of the Dot Northwest, leagues like that. But how did you find that iBattle personally?
I thought it was cool, man. I just happened to be out there, because I don't know. I sort of like, I guess I sort of had like some animosity with sort of guys that have been grouped in like the Northeast and tend to be kind of like I battle battlers. But I ended up being in New York last summer, like late summer, right when they were throwing an event. And so maybe it was October, I don't remember, but I ended up just going and hanging out. That was the Mike P. Dunch one where I was so annoying in the background, but that ended up being really fun. You could just see that those guys have a good time. Like the people talk to each other at events. They're all just like there. They really appreciate the material that's going on. Um, so once I was out there and got a chance to talk to Lex, I was just like, yeah, man, I would love to jump in and do something on this league. And then a couple months later, he hit me up and asked if I wanted to do the XQZ battle. So I figured I would jump at that chance. And it was cool. We battled in Staten Island though, and like all my friends, I know a lot of people out there, but they're all in like Brooklyn, which is like 2 hours from Staten Island or something like that. So it's like I had a lot of people. If we had done the battle in Brooklyn, I would have had like hella people, but because we did it out there, I was just solo at it. Um, but it was a real fun atmosphere. I think especially the XQZ battle kind of showed me some things that I need to refine. I think that crowd is really they like I don't know they just like they like battles a lot, but they especially like the people that they've had time to get to know and connect with a bit. So I think they'd seen XQZ like once or twice, and that was my debut. So I was kind of like earning my connection with the crowd there and everything. But I thought it was
Sure.
really fun. I would definitely go back. They got a lot of talented people that I would be happy to perform against.
Definitely. Yeah, man. And it was like it was a great back and forth that battle too. I really enjoyed it. I'd probably say in terms of an overall back and forth battle, it might be my favourite of yours so far. Um, but yeah, great to see you on iBattle as well. a lot of fun. But I don't know if I've got this correct, because if I have, the footage has never been released. But you did come and battle in the UK, didn't you, at one point?
No, I was supposed to. This is the
Right.
whole thing. I think I talked about this a couple times because I like fucked this up, but I was supposed to battle. So I've had one battle booked and two like battles that were close to happening, but I was supposed to battle Heretic at the fifth birthday
That's right.
in, and I fucked it up because I've always had people buying my flights, so I don't really pay for my travel, and then I had talked to the people that like sponsored me, and they were like, "Yeah, we can totally make this happen." And then I told her, I was like, "Yeah, my people are good." But what I learned later on is the mistake I made was I should have bought the ticket right then, just myself, and then raised the money back. And instead, I like waited for these people to buy the ticket, and then all of a sudden, it's like getting close, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's not gonna happen." So then I had to tell her and Heretic and I don't think Ur's ever talked to me again, but that's okay. We didn't really talk much before that anyway.
Doesn't particularly talk to anybody, so I wouldn't get offended by that. He's
Ooh, okay. I think that was like 4 years ago. But yeah, so I have a bunch of material for Heretic. That I repurposed some of it because I battled when I battled Rupert Common, he was vegan, so I could use like the little concepts I had there. Um, but yeah, I definitely I that would have been a fun battle. I'd love to come to the UK. I feel like the style that I use is one that is especially appreciated in that area, in those
definitely.
regions.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's a shame that that didn't happen. You and Heretic would have been a really good matchup too, but
oh man, who
hopefully
knows?
something that can happen again in the near future. But
Yeah,
is
that'd be.
there, like, Heretic unfortunately doesn't battle anymore, but is there anyone else in the UK that interests you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I really like a bunch of UK dudes, and actually the reason I wanted to battle Heretic. So the way that I've always looked at battling is that like, okay, I want to battle somebody specific, right? But they're too big for me, or like I can't get them in a way that would make sense. So I look at like who is like that, that's like lower, who's like between me and that person, that like if I battled them, it makes more sense. So I was gonna battle. So I'm always thinking like what each individual battle is gonna like lead to next. So I had wanted to battle Heretic to get to Ogmios,
Okay,
because I really want to battle Ogmios because he's like the mystical wizard, and to a degree, so am I. So we could have this like kind of different type of interaction. Um, and that's a thing that's like sort of public. I think Ogmios has like acknowledged it, and we've briefly talked about it, but just whenever it becomes a realistic scenario. Soul is one of my favorites out there. Obviously, I'm not putting myself on the level with him, but I feel like that's a kind of talented performer that me going against would really push me to like be the most exceptional version of what I can do. And if I could just infinitely battle, it's hard to write all this stuff, but like, I mean, I fuck with Matter a lot. I like him. I like Gemini is one that I would want to battle. I'm just naming these upper tier guys, but um, I think there was a really brief talk about me and Terminal happening at that Rap is Full event that came and went. Um, so I would be totally into that. I think he's a good writer. I've known that guy just through the internet. I mean, not super well, but for a long time. So he'd be a fun one. And I could think of
yeah.
more.
I did notice that you tagged him in a post on one of the Irish forums recently as well, right? So that'd definitely be fun to see.
Yeah, man, I want to make it happen. Because I don't battle that much for a number of reasons, but I would like to be able to. I think that's in some ways kind of like made it slowed down my progression. Is just my not taking that many battles. I only do like 1 to 2 a year now.
Sure. But I mean, one of the questions that I've been asking people, which we'll get to with yourself now as well, is if you could pick anybody for your next 5 battles, like who do you want the most? And Terminal did actually mention you there too, so
Oh yeah.
fingers crossed. I mean, I know they're just starting to kind of book matchups for Broken Resolutions 3, which won't be until early next year, but they've already announced that Nugget will be battling Sharon,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
they've announced that A-Ward's there.
Oh, cool. Good for him.
I know that unfortunately Terminal was meant to battle Tony D at the recent one, which didn't happen, so they may rebook that. But I mean, failing that, you versus Terminal in Ireland would be fantastic.
Hey man, we'll bump it. Let them know. I'll make my posts too. But yeah, I mean, I would love to. I would just love to get the opportunity to go over and check out Ireland and hang out in the scene there.
Definitely, yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, with yourself, 5 battles wise, who would you want if you could pick anybody?
Okay, I made like a list. I think. You want realistic ones or just anybody?
You can mix it up if you want.
Okay, I got 2 lists, so I'll give you a couple of each of them. I said Agmios on there. He's definitely like a bucket list battle for me. I just think that would be. I want to actually. I hit a battle rap resume, like really briefly was talking to me about just putting that together as like a one-off battle, and I wanted to do that as like a whole. I want to make like a mini documentary about it, like me and Agmios like travel up to the Highlands or some crazy place and like battle out there. Anyway, that's a whole fantasy one for me.
I would
I
love
want to
to see
battle.
that.
I
That'd
want to
be
battle
incredible.
Dago Diavolo on iBattle.
Yeah, okay. I
I
like
think
that.
that's a very realistic matchup. He's good. I like his writing, and I just feel like that would be that's like a good style of guy for me to go against, I think. Um, I want to battle 24/7. Um, I feel like that may be possible, but in sort of not in like a major league thing. Just if I can like convince him to just do like a one-off battle for like the competitive art form, because I know he kind of fucks with me after the Mad Flex battle. So what's that, 3. I want to battle Saint.
Okay.
He's been popping. I don't think that one will happen for me because he's kind of like he's getting a big push right now from King of the Dot to kind of like make it into their upper tiers. So I'm kind of behind that. So I don't think that one would happen. But I feel like he would be. I like the way that he raps, or like the way he uses his voice. I'm not necessarily like crazy about the content, but I like to battle people that sound pretty good, because there's a very aesthetic thing to it. And then I guess I want to battle my verse. She's maybe an unrealistic one, but I want to battle a woman because like I don't know, not as many people there's too much of like sexist approaches to it, and I want to just like beat them because I'm better than them. So I would love to be able to do kind of like the just approach that type of battle in the right way, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, that quite a few people have said similar, and I really do agree. Like the approach of the whole, I don't know, like get back in the kitchen or whatever is just so boring to see now. Like the Matter actually did a battle in my city, so Cardiff, last year for Don't Flop, where he battled a local battler called Shaugi Bear. She's kind of just coming through the ranks at the moment, and he took a completely different approach where he based his second round on saying that he was the feminist of the two of them, and it was just an amazing approach. Like it worked really well. The whole venue was in stitches, and it's just good to see somebody approach it different, because the whole approach has got very boring now. So I agree on that front.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I will say, I definitely think that I feel like there should be more competition between the men and the women, and not always having it be just like you're a man, I'm a woman, that's the difference. But like we're both battlers. So there's some females that I think are pretty good right now for sure.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
I would say that I think I listed 5, but I will say that to me, Daylight is the final boss of battle rap. So like if I were to ever actually be like a significant factor within the culture competitively, then I feel like that would be like the ultimate battle to aim towards.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I was going to say dialect. Then Daylight over in the UK gets quite a lot of stick, and I think it is mainly because of the antics that he pulls. But I think personally, I feel like what Daylight was doing back in like say 2015 has aged very well now. Like when you look at the Pat Stay performance, for example, I think the whole kind of outrage over that battle was due to the fact that it was a title match at the time. But nowadays, if Daylight was to get up on stage and pull an antic like that for 3 rounds, I think it'd be much more appreciated.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
Daylight should make a return as soon as possible,
I
personally.
think I think he will. I think he might at some point. I don't necessarily watch all of his battles, but I just feel like he just does things no one else can do, and it's really amazing. Like I don't necessarily love seeing Daylight's ass, but the fact that he like will try to take a shit on stage versus somebody is just like to have that brain to just like be able to do that shit is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite thing that's ever happened was his Total Slaughter performance versus T-Rex. I don't know if you saw that, but that's just like a legendary thing.
Do you know what? I don't know if I have seen that.
Oh my god. He like I haven't watched it in a while, but I watched it live on like a bootleg when Total Slaughter was going on, and he came in a full Spawn cosplay outfit after winning the like Total Slaughter tournament to battle T-Rex at the main event. He comes fully dressed as Spawn, raps for 2 rounds, and then in the third round pulls out a pill bottle and goes, "I've lost my medication," and proceeds to scream and rip his clothes off on stage and roll around on the floor in his underwear while Ebro and like Sway and all these people are yelling at him to like be a man and get up. And he's just so insane. And I thought that's like my favorite thing that's ever happened.
Okay, yeah, I've definitely not seen that. I
You
need to
should check
try and
that
find
out.
that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's Daylight through and through, to be fair. I love it. But
Hell yeah.
was that was it the same one where he battled, did he battle Disaster in the tournament? Is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah, he did that Afro line on Nice Round Hair or whatever. I think that's all I really remember. But yeah, he battled. That's a really good like super short little battle between them.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. But yeah, Daylight would definitely be good. And I mean, the rumor is he's meant to be coming back and battling Lux anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he could battle whoever he wants. I think. I mean, he got 1 million views versus Cortez on King of the Dot, so he can do whatever he wants, man.
Yeah, definitely. But like with yourself, I know you've got a number of projects going on. Like you make a lot of art and stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my vocation.
Nice. And is that kind of the reason why you move around so much then?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't have to move so much. My family grew up moving a lot, and now that I'm kind of older, or like now that I'm self-sufficient, I just know people in a lot of places, and whenever I travel, I meet new people and opportunities arise for me. So it just sort of is like this, it's kind of this like rush of experience that pulls me to want to continue going places. And I mean, I feel overwhelmed by, how the shortness of life and the vastness of the planet. Like there's just so much stuff that I want to engage in and connect with and just see. And so I feel this kind of like sometimes like slightly manic need to just explore the world. And fortunately for me, I've developed my art abilities to a point where I can work anywhere without even needing to be able to speak to the people that I'm around. Like I can just connect to places through creating art. So that's really facilitated it. And I've grown to more or less believe that I can just go anywhere and make it and support myself. And so far it's worked out all right.
Nice. Yeah, and where can people kind of find your artwork then for anyone listening that's interested?
Yeah, so I keep a website which is randomswebsite.com, which is pretty straightforward. And then I have an Instagram. I'm not very social media oriented, but I do have an Instagram which is POEMGEE. POEMGEE. And that's kind of a mix of art and some of my like pictures people have taken of me doing my poetry work as well. I do like a street performance poetry, which has been pretty successful for me.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard quite a lot about it actually. So I'm guessing that also kind of gives you the opportunity to just travel around too.
Yeah, well, that's what I developed that for. That one's great in English. I mean, I did a little in Mexico, but in English speaking places, I can just sit on a corner with a typewriter and walk away after a few hours with maybe like 50, $200, something like that. So it's like I can go anywhere and just make it happen. I just never wanted, I don't know, I never wanted to have to spend like huge amounts of my life working at some place that I don't really enjoy so that I could have the resources and time to be able to take the adventures I wanted to take. So I just go on the adventure and figure it out. That's been my strategy.
Nice. I
I
like it, man.
recommend it, jump off the cliff.
Definitely. Yeah, I like that a lot. But yeah, and a quick question that I wanted to ask actually. I remember seeing a piece of art that you made, which was it was like the design was a turtle with the shell being kind of like an island.
Okay.
Um, was that is the island is it Koh Tao in Thailand by any chance?
No, no, it is not. I haven't been to Thailand.
Okay,
They
I
look a
I
lot like
saw
it.
it. I saw it while I was actually in Thailand, which was a bit of a coincidence, but I just thought it was kind of drawn from that. But
Oh, that's
amazing
cool.
piece of art anyway, man. I really like that. But
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I get a lot of. I think I watched a lot of anime and animated stuff when I was like a teenager. Now I don't really go for it. But I think that like Miyazaki movies and like Samurai Champloo and stuff like that had a bit of an effect on some of my style. So I get a lot of like Asiatic things thrown in, associated with like my architectural drawings, especially.
nice. Yeah, I like it, man. But
That's dope.
like back to the battle side of things, like for yourself, do you have like a least favorite battle of yours, any that you don't tend to watch back at all?
Oh yeah, you saw that 9 battle, right?
Yes.
I hate that battle.
Okay.
That was
Oh,
like, oh man. Yeah, I
what do
just
you hate
approached
about
that.
it?
I just approached that completely wrong. That was my third battle, and I was like, I was still in that point. I was in the like, okay, I'm gonna like kill this guy, like take his head off thing. And then I think doing that battle made me realize that's just like not the character that I need to be. Um, so I like went into that one, and I did this. God, I hate that battle, but I did this third round where I thought, I don't know. I think it's very easy, especially in battle rap, where you're kind of in this like chamber of your mind trying to like strategize against another person, to like get too grandiose with who you are and what you're doing, and like make it too serious or something, just too big. And I did this third round where he's a black man, and he had been in the military, and he worked, my understanding was that he worked on oil fields in the US. And so I constructed this round, which I think is well put together, if short-sighted, but it's about how basically he's an evil henchman and betraying like black culture and society by essentially working for the US military, which is like the militant arm of the oppressive American government, and then the oil fields of the US, which obviously oil money is like a dirty, like planet ruining thing. So I made it out like he was this evil henchman, um, betraying what did I say, betraying your race for a taste of the dream or something like that. Anyway, fuck that angle. That was fucking stupid, and I'm amazed nobody has ever like called me out for that whole thing.
Right.
But there you go. Yeah. So that battle, I don't know. I just think I approached it wrong. I should have just made fun of that guy. I would have been way better off. But I think my first round was pretty good. I think I have some good moments in there. Um, but it's also like 30 minutes long. And
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that it's a bad performance anyway, but I can appreciate that you don't like the approach that you took. That's fair enough. But
yeah.
one of the the battle rap related questions that I've been asking, which people have tended to struggle with, is out of the events that you've attended now, what would you personally say stands out as the best battle that you've seen live?
I would say that I don't know if I could be superlative and say exactly one, but I think I can tell you that probably Mike P versus Dunch was super fun to watch. Dunch is a fucking hero, and I haven't been to a lot of events, but I really liked Thesaurus versus QP was fucking awesome, and so was Bender versus Fredo.
Yeah,
So
okay.
getting to go to the bunker was pretty much like that was like one of the highest points of everything for me. But I really loved that Thesaurus battle. I think that's a really good back and forth. I think the Bender Fredo one was in the room. It was kind of heavily on Fredo's side, but I really like obviously love Bender, and so like watching Bender live, I'm just like, oh man, fuck yeah. But it felt like Fredo won in the room, but afterwards it just became kind of like this classic battle. So I'd say those kind of like my three. But if it's one, then I'll probably just say Bender Fredo for the posterity.
It's a good answer. Yeah, I love that. I love all three of those battles, to be fair. And yeah, very jealous that not only that you got to see Bender versus Fredo live, but also the fact that it was in the bunker, like you said, like those events looked amazing for the most part. So
Yeah,
get that.
that place was crazy. That was such a fever dream.
Yeah, yeah, I love those events. But
Yeah, that one was funny. So like when I got to the bunker, right, I knew I was the opener, and I have this whole attitude. When I'm at the event, I'm just like, okay, like this space is mine. Like this place where we're battling, this platform, this is like my platform, and like you're welcome to be here with me. So as soon as I got to the bunker, I just like walked in. Everybody's like sitting down, chilling. I just like walk into the middle of the room, and I'm like, hey everybody, you guys ready? And then they're like getting ready to do the Baby J battle with me, and I want my opponents to be like hyped up because I want them to do well. And so I just started jumping up and down and chanting Baby J's name, and the whole room starts chanting Baby J. So you get them all like fired up, and I think that's a great move because it makes you seem kind of like have some control of the situation, but also in a way that's not like being an asshole, and it's sort of positive towards the other person. So I think that's a real good. I did that to XQZ too. I spent the whole time before the XQZ battle. I spent the whole event just being like, "Hey man, are you excited? Like, are you happy? Like, this is gonna be fucking awesome, right?" And a lot of people get like super fucking nervous before the events and the battles, and I think I do too. I just express it differently.
sure, no, it's a good approach. I like it, and I don't know. I don't know if you're familiar with a league called Premier Battles in the UK at the moment, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, so they kind of built their league upon football culture to begin with. So it was kind of split into teams, and they had merchandise for each team and things like that. And they they before every battle, each battler has their own chant. So they'll start like a chant with the crowd and stuff, and it really does build the momentum both with the crowd and with the battlers. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a good approach to take in that sense. But
Yeah, that was something I think I'm good if you put me on the spot in front of like an audience, I'm pretty good at working with it. So like crowd work has always been a thing, and I love stuff like what you're describing. I'm familiar with that from Premiere, but something I always like to do is I like to throw in like little ad libs between bars and stuff just to like engage with the audience and make it a little more like break that barrier a little bit and kind of get the energy. It's all about the energy that you bring to the performance. So I really like stuff like that, getting the crowd engaged. I think from the UK, I think Harry Baker is a genius. I don't think he's obviously not like a good rapper, but his ability to come up with things that like especially crowd engagement material, like he did one versus Pamphlet, he did one versus his Charlie Clips performance is just so dominant. Um, so I think he's somebody that's really good. I think that's like a next level of battle rap is understanding how to predict and manipulate the audience with the material that you bring.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's good to hear you mention Harry Baker too. I think he gets overlooked a lot personally, and the not necessarily as an all-round battle, but him versus Clips, his performance is one of the best that I've seen live personally. So
Oh, yeah. God, that must have been crazy. I bet everybody in the room was just rolling like his whole every round. I love that. The fucking that shit backwards is fucking terrible. And yeah. And
yeah,
even he does that little he has an ad lib in that that's brilliant when he does the whole thing about the spelling crew and then he's doing the desserts part in his third round about how Clips misspelled desserts or whatever. And then Clips says something and Harry goes, "We'll talk about it in the spelling crew," and that shit goes off.
yeah, yeah. He has one as well where I think he says, "I'm going to address the elephant in the room," and then he's just like, "Not you."
Yeah.
It's great, but
I love those. Yeah.
yeah, I like that. But and with Mike P versus Dunch as well. I mean, the battle as a whole is incredible anyway, but I bet it was much better for you as a viewer having stood right next to Essam for the whole battle.
Oh yeah. Well, it would have probably been better for the battle if I wasn't there, but I think that it was super fun. Just hanging out with SM. As soon as he walked up, because nobody knew I was at the event, and as soon as SM walked up, I was like, "You and me, we're friends." I was like, starting now. So I just hung out with him a bunch. But yeah, he's hilarious. We were Dunch's little hype crew, but especially SM.
Yeah, yeah, Essam had me in stitches throughout that battle. To be fair, but
Yeah, he's somebody who's just got that kind of like natural spirit that I think embodies like aspects of battle rap. That's why he's so good at kind of like doing meta things or doing these like setups where he'll like reference some kind of battle rap trope or something and then like flip it and like downplay it or be sarcastic about himself. He's really skilled at that. I fuck with SM.
yeah, he's just built for battling, isn't he? He's perfect for it. He fits it really well, and like I've seen fairly recently, there was like a bots tryout event where him and Reverse Live both stepped in because someone's opponent no showed, I think.
Mm.
And like Reverse Live he can rap incredibly well. So he's kind of all aggressive and rapping in this guy's face, and then Essam is just stood there casually listing off multis, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That's tight.
But yeah, very good list of battles that you've seen live, to be fair. So I'm jealous of those. But
Quality over quantity, I guess.
yeah, definitely. But is there any leagues in particular that you'd really like to go to personally? Like any events or leagues that really stand out for you?
Well, I would really like to battle on RBE. Um,
Okay.
and I've actually gotten pretty close to that happening. Avocado kind of like hit me up asking me if I wanted to, and then I was like, of course, but nothing really came out of that. I have the number for the dude who does the bookings and stuff, but I haven't talked to him in a minute. Um, I would like to do that. Obviously, I want to do a UK one. I'm not really sure. I know Premier Battles. I don't know if I really have the clout or reputation to get on there yet, but I don't really know what else is going on in the UK because there was kind of that implosion. Like Chalked Out and Code Red. Those aren't things anymore, right?
So chalked out isn't no. They've kind of taken a completely different route now. So they've started doing something called the Ultimate Insult Championships, which is it's essentially just two comedians roasting each other.
Yeah.
Whereas Code Red have now, I don't want to speak out of term here because I might not fully understand the situation properly, but I believe that they are essentially joining forces with Don't Flop again.
Oh, right on.
I know they had plans to do an event in Amsterdam, which the flyer that was posted was Don't Flop and Code Red's logos both on it. So I'm just kind of jumping to assumptions, I guess.
That'd be
But
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
well, those guys, I mean, yeah, I want to do some UK stuff. Rap is Full looks super fun right now. I want to do a KOTD Pacific Northwest. I want to battle DDSS or like Ellipsis or one of those two. And then I want to go back to iBattle. I wanted to do Bullpen for a little while. I like doing some more like street leagues would be cool. I really wanted to do Black Ice or Guerrilla Warfare. You know that league? You know John Doe?
yes,
I always really wanted to do a battle that he filmed because he makes them look crazy. And then I mean I want to do some of the King of the Dot stuff like their any battling on the West Coast is super fun. Those crowds are really cool. I feel like they have such a history of like battle rap that that shit can be really cool. So like I tried really really hard to get on Town Business too, but I think they just had a huge waiting list for that.
yeah,
So
of course.
those are like the main ones I can think of. I think I could probably come up with a couple more if I thought about it. And obviously I want to do as many Ruin Your Days as possible. But you gotta spread those out.
Yeah, I can see that. And like, it's funny that you mentioned Bullpen because there's actually a guy that battles with Bullpen that you might be aware of. I've only recently become aware of him myself, but a guy called Anderson Burris.
Oh yeah, I didn't know he was on Bullpen ever. I've seen a couple battles from him.
Yeah, yeah, I know he's done at least one battle with Bullpen anyway. I think they're like his most local league. So
He's
I
from like
think
Georgia or something.
yeah, yeah, and I think you two would match up really well. I think that would work on a Bullpen card.
That'd be fun. I think I would. He's good. I definitely. Who does he sound like? He sounds like a lot like Roan or something like that. He has somebody. There's somebody he sounds a lot like, which isn't to say he's bad because it's. I watched. He had a GZ that came out that was good. He's definitely good. And he battled Shotgun Suge. I don't know if you saw that, but I like checked him out a little bit after I saw the one battle because people were bumping him. Yeah, I'd battle
Yeah,
Anderson Burris. Sometimes I think battling guys like that is actually harder for me because I'm not as much of like, I'm self-aware, but I don't like dig into it as much as people like Anderson Burris or like Dunch. Like they're really good at doing that kind of like critical self-awareness. I think XQZ to a degree is good at that as well. And I feel like that could tactically like really fuck me up. So those are battles that I have to be very prepared for if I take them. But yeah, sure. I'll battle Anderson Burris on Bullpen. John set it up.
definitely. Yeah, I'd like to see that. But yeah, it's an interesting list, and like yeah, I'd like to see what you're saying with the West Coast scene as well. Like I've I've traveled quite a lot, and I've still never been to North America. So my plan is to head over at the end of the year. It was originally planned. I was planning to come over for Town Business 3, but it looks like they may now do Blackout LA around that time instead of doing Town Business 3 this year. Um, so my plan is to head over for that and also try to then fly over to New York and catch an iBattle event while I'm there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to head over for that. And have you had has anyone reached out in terms of the Blackout card then?
No, I don't really get much I don't really get much interaction from King of the Dot. I've like, I feel like I'm on pretty good terms with them. I've met Organic and Gully and J Pro, and I'll hit those guys up and just be like, hey, I'd love to get on one of these cards if you have a spot for me. So I'm pretty proactive about my own battling, but I haven't really gotten much response from those guys. So no, I would doubt that I'm on their list right now. I think I turned down some GZs back in the day when I was kind of building momentum, like after the bunker and stuff. And I think that that kind of affected like how that affected them like looking at me as somebody that's like on the roster. I kind of distanced myself from like being a GZ battler, which I think I was happy with doing that, but I think that it affected my like connection to the brand of King of the Dot and what they do. So I
Right.
don't know.
Okay.
I'd like to work with them. I feel like that's a league that is more geared towards the style of performer that I am, or at least the image that I have. I don't know if I'm a very well branded performer or anything. But yeah, man, if they, hopefully those guys are listening to this podcast and they're just like, damn, we really need to get Random. He's such a cool, great battler. That's why I wanted to do this with you today, man. I figured this is my best chance.
Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna be sitting down with Rigo from King of the Dot at some point soon, so
Yeah.
I'll mention it and see what happens. But yeah, and the final battle rap related question though is, it's definitely the one that people have found the most difficult to answer. But if you were promoting your own event and you had unlimited funding to put this event together, who would you personally put on the card and what battles would you love to see?
Okay, so you sent me this question. I actually did write down some answers, but the thing I think about it is that I feel like the battles that I want to put together would not make for a good event. Like I want to see them, but I don't think that they would I don't know that they would fit with each other. But I got some written down. So I feel like a battle I would want to see, as long as it was only like 25 minutes or something like that, maybe like 35. I feel like Calico versus Disaster in kind of like a bunker, like volume type setting would be insane. I'd love to see that. I really love Calico, and Disaster is not really one of my favorites, but I feel like he's just so like compelling. And then my next battle, I think, will show you exactly why this event would not work well together. But I want to see Shuffle T and Marlo versus Thesaurus and Ilmac. Like that's got to happen.
Yeah,
I know I'm not alone in that one, but I would really love to see that happen. I think I want to see Daylight versus Hitman.
Okay.
That'd be pretty crazy. I really like Hitman. I don't know how you feel about him, but I think he's like clearly one of the best ever.
I'm very funny with URL battlers in the sense that there's a lot of people on URL that I personally don't like, but Hitman is not one of them. I am a big fan of his, so I like that battle a lot.
Yeah, he's super dope. I would do I have Soul versus QP on here.
Yeah, I like that.
That'd be a pretty crazy one. And I want to see I actually don't really care who he battles, but I want to see Pass probably versus Verb. I feel like Pass versus Verb is a really good battle that hasn't happened. And I want to see that in Oakland. I'm a real big Pass fan. But he's got this thing where he's like, in Oakland, like you can't touch him, but anywhere else he like doesn't win. Like he doesn't win his battles outside of California, but in Cali he's like untouchable. He's like Samson with his hair or something like that. Or there's this I can't remember his name, but there's a Greek myth about a wrestler who's like the son of the earth, and as long as his feet are touching the planet, he can't be defeated. So Hercules picks him up and crushes him because his feet are off the earth. But I feel like Pass is that guy. Like when his feet are on the ground in Cali, like you can't fuck with him.
Oh,
so I love that one a lot. And then I just have Harry Baker written down. I don't know where I'm going with that, but Harry Baker will be on my card as well.
I think Harry Baker versus Carter Deems needed to happen.
Oh yeah. That's a real shame that we missed out on that.
Yeah, but
that'd been great.
It's funny actually. So with Pass, like I'm a huge fan of Pass as well. Like he's incredible, and he's not been mentioned by anybody on the show so far until recently, and now I think the last 4 episodes that I've recorded, all 4 people have said Pass versus Averb.
Oh, really? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, which is quite
Yeah,
interesting.
that
So
battle that just makes so much sense. They both have like these styles that are really cool to listen to. I don't know. I feel like that one should definitely happen.
yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and they both just rap like really well as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, but then you gotta have matches that have some like Pass versus Enes is a pretty like meh, even though I love those guys. Like Enes's third versus Fire to Misfit is I love that. Enes is one of my favorites to watch because he's so fun. Like his energy, like him versus B Magic is crazy. I love that battle.
yeah,
Um,
agreed. Yeah, I like Ines a lot as well, but yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. It was a little bit underwhelming, I guess, but I I much prefer. What was the matchup from the town business before? It was Parsil Will, wasn't it?
Passing the will, yeah, and then he battled Danny Myers at the second one, I think.
Yes, that's it.
But Pasco is crazy. All of his, I think, for a long time, I kind of watched past battles, and I was like, I don't really like. He's just saying things. I was like, I don't really fuck with this. But then I watched him versus DNA, and he is so fucking like on point in that battle. He's so commanding. His whole energy is like very confident. I think he's kind of a quiet dude, like socially, but when he's up there like that one was nuts. And then his third round versus Arsenal gives me like frisson, like chills. That one's insane. I think there's a daily
Yeah,
spice to that. So yeah, I like Pass a lot. UBR hit me up recently asking me who I wanted to battle down there because like every so often they'll like fly out a bigger name, and Pass was actually the guy that I mentioned. So that battle might happen at some point. I don't consider myself to be on his level at all, but I would love to go up against that dude.
that'd be great to see. Yeah, I like that a lot. But yeah, that's a really good list, man. And in terms of the other questions I've been asking, so I've been finishing up with a couple of music-based questions and then three very random questions at the end. But
All right, let's do it.
if you had to pick your top three albums of all time off the top of your head, what would you go with?
I would say The Mouse and the Mask by Danger Doom is my Desert Island album. And
Nice.
then maybe Astral Weeks by Van Morrison, except for track two. That's a good album.
Okay,
And
I like that.
then I don't know. This last one's gonna be hard. I would say maybe there's this album called Shinoiseries by this dude Onra. And I don't really listen to that as much anymore, but I think that one it's just like a beat tape, but it's really cool. But I don't know, there's a lot of those like that. Like I could say like Donuts or some Quasimodo stuff would be up there too, but I feel like that's a pretty good list for me. I know Mouse and the Mask is my Desert Island album.
Yeah, I like that list, man. It's good. And they're three answers that haven't come up before, so it's good to get a bit of variety. But
Perfect.
what would you say is like the best live act that you've ever seen in terms of like shows or concerts that you've been to?
Ooh. I saw the first concert I ever went to was Dragon Force. Are you familiar with them?
The very heavy metal band, right?
Yeah, the speed metal band. And
Yeah.
that was fucking awesome. So that was a really good one. And then I've seen Cirque du Soleil, and that was pretty exhilarating to watch. I did that
Nice.
on acid too, so it was like extra amazing.
Yeah, I
Um,
can imagine.
so I don't know. Those are the first ones that spring to mind. I could probably think of some other stuff too, though.
Nice. Yes, that I like that. And yeah, Dragon Force. I mean, for myself, I don't really tend to listen to any metal like just at home or whatever, but
Yeah,
metal gigs are some of the best gigs to go to. Like I've always had a great time at any metal gigs that I've been to, so
yeah,
I
I
can
love
imagine,
that.
especially someone like Dragon Force, like they're one of the heaviest bands I've ever heard in that
Dude,
sense.
they're
So
so fun. I think I was like 16 or something, but I remember that because I don't know, Dragon Forces, they're crazy, but it's like not that many people are really into them, and I'm not now. Like now, they're like a nostalgic, like fun thing for me. But I remember that the lead singer in the middle of the show just fucking cut the thing and just yells at the audience. He's like, it seems like none of you fuckers bothered to learn the words to our fucking songs, because like nobody knew what the hell, nobody like nobody knew the words to their shit at all. It's all about riding dragons into the sunset and fighting evil knights or something. So I thought that was great. Yeah, that was super fun energy one. I'll tell you on the other side, I think one of the worst ones I ever saw was I saw Animal Collective. I don't know if you know them. They're like some hipster music thing that I don't know. I heard one Animal Collective song that I liked one time, and I've spent forever trying to find it again. So that was one of the worst ones I saw.
I think I'm aware of them. They did a track called like Man of Oil. Is that the right ones?
I don't know. I'm not very like into them. I got like a free ticket to see them.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I've heard of them. I don't know if I've ever sat down and listened to them, but
It was like watching like a group of professional musicians spend 45 minutes trying to find the beat, and then they find it, and then it goes away after like 3 minutes. It was weird. Not for me, but that's okay.
fair. No, I can understand that. And the final music related question is there any kind of lesser known musicians that you're a big fan of right now that myself or the listeners might not be aware of?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I would say there's some stuff I really like. I listen to mostly like beats, like instrumentals. I don't really listen to much rap anymore. But there's this Japanese dude named Samon Kawamura, and he made this album called Taima, Thaima, and I love that. That's my like album. Whenever I need to sit down and work on my art, like really focus, I always put that on, and it gets me really kind of zoned in on that. Um, Let me see. I really like this. I like a lot of 60s music. So I don't know if anybody listens to the Turtles. They're fucking awesome. They do really cool songs. And then these dudes, what is it? The Intruders? I think the Intruders. They're like 60s kind of soul music, maybe like late 60s, early 70s. I don't know. But they have really cool production. They're like really great for finding samples for anybody that makes beats. And then additionally, like that is Kate Bush. You must know who she is because you're from the UK, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, she's not as well known. You know, her era is kind of gone in the US, but a friend of mine showed me her, and she has just so many things that are like samples. Like she has this song called Suspended in Gaffa, and that is fucking crazy. That song it's amazing. It's got so many little like parts of it that would make that you could just snip and make a whole beat off of. So I like that stuff. I like hearing, I think I really love hip hop music, and so a lot of the music that I listen to has like elements of that, even though it's not the song. There'll be like 2 seconds of the whole song that just like hit and your head just like nods like that. So that's kind of what I'm into. A lot of soul music, a lot of 60s music.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good list, man. And it's funny actually. You mentioned the Turtles. I I was recently given like my girlfriend's granddad gave me a lot of his old like vinyl collection because I collect vinyl records, and one of the few that I kept was actually the Battle of the Bands album by the Turtles, which I'd not heard of them before, but there's a couple of tracks on that, like the Eleanor track, I think it's called, that I really like.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
great song. That's in the soundtrack to Pirate Radio, or The Boat That Rocked, or whatever the movie's called. That's a really good one. They have a cover.
right,
They do a song on there that I'm not sure if it's them doing a cover or if it's someone else covers them doing it. I can't remember what song it is, but it's like a pretty famous one.
right,
Anyway, I really like the Turtles. Their song, I think it's called "You Showed Me" or something like that. That's one of my favorites. That was sampled. That's in the Freestyle Fellowship song "Sunshine Men." They sampled that. So that's
right. Okay. Yeah, you showed me he's on the same album as well,
That's a
so
great one.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah,
familiar with that.
you can see just from how I'm talking, like a lot of my knowledge of older music basically comes from listening to something, hearing a sample, and then digging back and like finding this musician or something.
Yeah,
Uh, like there's this dude Lord Buckley who I think is amazing, and I learned him. He's sampled on a Quasimodo song, "Closer" off the Unseen, I think, or Further Adventures. Um,
right.
but that guy's crazy. He just talks, but he's great.
Okay. I'll check that out as well, definitely. But I mean, the final three questions, so
Yeah.
they are just completely random, but are you a big sports fan and do you have a favorite sports team at all?
I don't watch sports, but I really enjoy them. I would say I don't think I have a favorite sports team. I really like basketball, soccer, and hockey, and like tennis. I like um football, I guess. I do not really fuck with American football at all. It's too much commercials. That's why I like watching European football, is because it's just 45 minutes of playing and then they stop and then you just watch them. And I love that like unbroken peacefulness. But I really like sports. I just don't follow any of them. I really enjoy watching basketball.
Okay. Nice. And if you could pick anywhere in the world for your next like holiday or your next trip abroad, where would you go?
Oh yeah, I want to go to Madagascar.
Nice.
Yeah, more
Okay.
than anywhere. So I want to make a I have an idea for a book slash like animated film that's about a boy who gets sent a million years in the future. And in Madagascar, the plants and animals that grow there, almost all of them only exist there. So I just want to go like bike around Madagascar and camp outside for like 3 to 6 months, just making an illustrative study of like the flora and fauna of that place as the source material for my book. So that's my like big trip I really want to do.
That sounds incredible. Yeah, Madagascar's very high on my list as well. So I actually I had a friend when I lived in Sweden who he had the opportunity to go to Madagascar and his parents were going to pay for it. Um, his his dad retired and they were good. The plan was they were going to go to Madagascar for 3 weeks and then finish the trip with a week as like a beach holiday in Zanzibar. Um, and he turned down the opportunity and instead chose to go to sunny beach in Bulgaria. And I've pretty much never forgiven him for it. But yeah, yeah, I'd love to go myself, man. So that's a great answer. And where would you say is like the your favorite place that you visited so far?
Mm. I really love New Orleans. That's that's probably the my favorite place. I love New Orleans and I really like these islands up in the Pacific Northwest, the San Juan Islands. Those are kind of like I go to the San Juans in the summer and just like camp and kick it around there, but I lived in New Orleans for like 2 or 3 years and it's just more fun there than anywhere else. Like it's so easy to make friends and just like jump in on adventures. So I love that place. I don't know how much longer that's going to be a real viable city with the kind of like economic decline of the U.S. and the fact that it's a tourism based town. So it's really suffering. I would actually have been out there right now, but for the pandemic. So I feel like it's really suffering right now. But I love New Orleans. I don't think I could say enough stuff about it.
Yeah, and for me personally, like the city wise, the places I want to go the most in America is probably New Orleans and Chicago. So
Oh, that's cool. Chicago's great too. There's a lot to do out there. Um, is a huge place though. I don't go as much for like the giant cities like New York, LA, Chicago. I visit them a lot, but I prefer it more manageable. I get overwhelmed by how vast they are and how much there is to explore. But
yeah,
those are good picks.
yeah, they interest me a lot. Like I'm a big Chicago Bears fan now as well, so I've got more of a reason to go to Chicago, I guess.
Yeah.
But
How come? Why you a Chicago Bears fan of all the world?
do you know what? It's gonna sound absolutely ridiculous, but and so NFL has only just become kind of accessible to watch in the UK.
Hmm.
In the last year or two, they've started showing. Well, they've put together a show called the NFL Show, which is like just an hour and a half worth of highlights from the games that week. And I actually started watching it by mistake. It's on a Saturday night straight after Match of the Day, which is the Premier League football highlight show. I started watching it, got really into it really quickly, realised what I'd been missing out on, and was trying to decide which team I wanted to follow through the whole season. And then the main two reasons that I went with the Bears were I really liked the jersey, so I bought a jersey. And I also got really into a TV show called The League,
Oh yeah.
which was based in Chicago, and they were like all big Bears fans and stuff. And I just kind of went with the Bears off the back of that. Like, having watched last season, I kind of wanted to go with the Chiefs just because I thought, as a brand new fan, Mahomes was one of the best players that I've ever seen in the sport. But I also didn't want to be labelled a glory supporter, so I went with the Bears.
Yeah, that's all right. That seems like great reasoning to me.
Nice. Yeah, I've got a bit of stick for it so far, but I'm also like, Chicago is probably the place I want to go the most, just because I'm kind of fascinated by like how Chicago was pretty much ran by the mafia. I know they've got a lot of like mafia museums and things. So
Oh yeah, yeah, that was big out there. Did you
yeah,
know that's the second Chicago? They actually built Chicago originally in Arkansas, but it just didn't work out, so they made a second one in Illinois.
did not know that. No,
Yeah, there you go.
fantastic. You learn something new every day. But
Yeah, man.
the final question, and this one it's brought up some terrible answers so far, to be fair. But
Shit.
if you could pick one sweet and one savory, what are the go-to snacks for you?
Hmm. Savory, I love kettle cooked potato chips. I pretty much like can't stop myself from eating those when I have them.
Oh, you
Uh,
get kettle chips over there then?
yeah, for sure. They're far superior to all other varieties in my
Nice.
esteem. And then this is inaccessible for everybody else, but my mom makes. I was fortunate enough to be raised by like the best cookie maker in the world, so I have like access to like incredible cookies all the time. So probably
Nice.
like my mom's cookies would. I mean, I could think of like a candy or something that other people could get, but fuck y'all.
No, I like that. It's a good answer. It's definitely some of the best answers I've had so far, to be fair. But
Cool.
apart from that, man, that's all the questions pretty much done with. But is there anything that you've got going on at the moment that you wanted to plug, or any links that you wanted in the description of the video once it's released?
Yeah, man, just check out my website, randomswebsite.com. I got all my artwork on there. You can see what I'm really putting all my time into. I don't have any major projects coming out right now, but I'm working on a couple books. There's a children's book I'm doing with a woman out in LA called When Gran Went to Heaven, about dealing with the loss of your grandparents and kind of going through that with your children. So I feel like that's going to be a pretty important book to have in this time. So that one will be out in a while, and that'll be through my website. You'll be able to find that. Other than that, I hope people just check out and enjoy my battles. And if you want to see me battle somewhere, let them know, and I'll probably be down to do it.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. But yeah, apart from that, man, thank you very much for taking the time to come on. It's been really good to chat to you, and hopefully get to see you versus Terminal very soon.
Yeah, what's up? Let's do it, man. All right. Well, thanks for
Definitely.
having me on.
No worries, man. Thanks again, and stay safe over there.
Right on.
Take care.
Cheers.